My name's Adrian and I'm a professional MMA fighter. MMA is mixed martial arts. I would say it's a coming together of different types of combat styles and martial arts styles, where I think the five main ones is like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, and then like a few others like karate, judo, like basically any kind of martial arts that's out there. I wouldn't say it's like no holds barred, because that's what it was in the beginning, but it became more, I would say, a more controlled environment, where now it's just more like freestyle fighting, where guys train certain styles and then they want to put it together and then they make their own unique style. When I started MMA, I had a full-time job as well. I was working at a gym, and then moved to a corporate position, and I was still doing the MMA on the side. But I always told myself there was going to come a point in my career where I'd need to choose between a normal everyday 9-to-5 job or having to go full-time into the fighting industry. And thanks to COVID, that kind of pushed me in the direction of going full-time, and I just thought to myself, you know, you get one chance at doing this, so might as well go all out. So it's definitely goes from being a sport to a lifestyle. It's something you have to live. I wake up pretty much early in the morning, like 5, 6 in the morning. I get to the gym, you know, I'm putting in my first training session, which is usually like my strength and conditioning, and then I'll have, on a normal day, I'll probably have some clients in between, you know, private clients or maybe teach a class and so on. And then lunchtime, we'll maybe put in another session, depending on what it is that we're trying to work on, skill session or whatever. And then, you know, I'll have a little break during the day, and then by evening time around 5, 6 o'clock, you know, I'll be putting in my last session for the day, which is also, again, skills, and then working with the team and so on, and my coach. And then that's just like the usual routine. But when we've got fight camp going, which is usually a period of like 12 to 8 weeks, depending if they give you enough time to prepare for that, there is like a little bit of a mental shift from that, because now we're not just training, we're training for a fight. So it's like fight mode gets switched on, and then training is a lot more intense, a lot more in depth as well, depending on your opponent and the type of fight that you're going to be going into. So then we start working on more of like the game plan behind, or the strategy behind the fight. A lot of the times you don't feel like being here. You don't feel like waking up early in the morning, 5 o'clock, and then having to drive, especially when it's cold in winter and you've got to come to the gym, and then you're going to go, you know, put yourself through a strenuous workout, and then you're tired afterwards, and then you still got like 2 more sessions to go for the day. So, yeah, discipline and determination is the biggest factors in what we do. I've experienced a very bad knockout in my career. It was about a year ago. I got knocked out in 13 seconds in the first round. And yeah, it was quite heartbreaking and disappointing when it happened. I mean, you spend so much time and so much energy getting ready for this fight, and it's a big moment, and then for it only to last 13 seconds, you know, and you're on the back end of it. Yeah, it was hard to deal with. What I learned in that was, like, you can't let those moments define you. It is a make or break moment. Either you're gonna succumb to it and you're never the same again, or you can look at it as a learning experience and a character building experience, and you can pick yourself up and move from there. First thing I did when I got home was I had a calendar in my room, and I went to the calendar and I took the letters of the word mourn, and I wrote it down for like each letter for, I think it was like 5 days. And I told myself, I'm giving you 5 days to mourn this knockout and this loss, and then after that we're back to normal, like it never happened. So I gave myself time to process it and kind of feel all the emotions and everything and come to grips with what had happened. But as soon as that 5 day period was done, I was back in the gym, back to normal, trying to get my momentum back, and yeah, and it hasn't been anything that's affected me since then. Building up to fight day, I usually try. It's definitely a lot of mental warfare going on internally. You feel all the emotions, the nerves, you know, the fear, the doubt, you know, the excitement, the adrenaline, everything is hitting you at once. The best thing to do is to try and keep yourself as calm as possible. When you see your opponent eye to eye for the first time, it's literally the day before you got to go and fight. And then you're having the face-off, you know, getting a feel for each other, trying to feel each other's vibe out, and, you know, trying to almost like intimidate each other. Your opponent's usually, you know, trying to show you that he's the tough one, and, you know, there's a lot of like those mind games and stuff going on. Once it's time fight night, and, you know, making the walk to the cage, that's when everything sets in, you know. And now, you know, there's no turning back. You know, the only way to get through it is going forward. And once you get into the cage and they close the door and it's just you and your opponent, then it's like everything becomes real. And it's like, okay, we're here to do business now. It's like literally seconds before the bell hits, the referee will point at your opponent. He'll say, are you ready? He'll point at me and say, are you ready? And then that's when it's like, it's go time. If you're going to hesitate, you're going to get hurt. And ultimately, there's a chance that you could die in the ring as well. I mean, and this is something that a lot of fighters have to come to terms with. I mean, it's a possibility. You're getting into a fight. If you think too much, you can get caught. You know, you got to allow your body to react in the moment. And you got to rely on your senses and your reflexes more than thinking. Because as soon as you give too much time to thinking, your opponent could react quicker than you, and then he catches you, and then the fight's over. For me, when the fight started, it was pretty much back and forth. And I knew the guy that I was fighting was a tough guy. And I mean, he threw bombers. His hands, he's got some heavy hands, and I mean, I still got some welts on my head from the shots that I was defending. But I think when the tide turned in the fight was when he was throwing those punches, and I kind of like you know, shrugged it off, and I carried on. And I think he realized that he wasn't going to be able to catch me with the shots to the head. So he switched it up and went to my body. Anyway, second round went. He landed a few good shots to my body, winded me, got me with a liver shot as well. And anyway, the scuffle went on. And I managed to clinch up with him, and I threw a knee strike. And it was in that moment where I knew, okay, I got him now. Because the strike landed perfectly. I cut his eye open. I could see he was taking a little bit longer to come out from the round. His whole team was around, the doctors were around. I was protesting. I was like, come on, we're going to fight, let's go. And then, yeah, I saw the doctor put his hand up and he called the fight. I was born into a Christian home. My mom and my grandmother are the ones that pretty much influenced a lot of my faith. Growing up, you don't really take to it. It's more like something that's there, and it's like, okay, my family, you know, we're Christian. But within recent year, it's become something that's grown a lot for me personally. The last time that I hit like rock bottom, I just felt to myself that I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. Like, there has to be something deeper to this. And when I found myself in that isolated environment, and, you know, I was basically on my knees, I reconciled with the Lord and really put my focus on my faith. And I felt like everything else has just branched from there. And I don't think I would be here today doing this interview or have the opportunity to fight on a world stage if it wasn't for God. My ultimate goal would be to obviously be an inspiration for everyone else around me. But in order for me to do that, I need to first accomplish the short-term goals that I have set in front of me. So the first one is I want to become a world champion for a promotion. And then after that, I would like to be one of the South African MMA fighters that fought on the world stage and fought for a big promotion in the world. You know, I'm very grateful for the people that I'm surrounded by, you know, my family, my friends, my teammates, my gym, my coach. I'm really just happy to know that I've got that kind of support and that love and that encouragement that, you know, that helps me in the times where I can't help myself or when I'm not able to push myself. I know that if I turn to my left, I've got my family. If I turn to my right, I've got my team and my coaches. So I'm very grateful for them and thankful.